Hello everybody, this is the final lesson in Unit D. This is talking about investment portfolios. So what is a portfolio or an investment portfolio? It's when you have basically a whole bunch of investments, like maybe you're investing in stocks and bonds and GIC and anything else that you can think of. So the all-encompassing of that is called a portfolio. So there are a whole bunch of different types of investments, literally just mentioned some. So you can get like a savings account or a tax-free savings account. Highly recommend you get one as soon as you can. There is guaranteed investment certificates, or GIC for short. There are savings bonds, mutual funds, RSPs, RRSPs. If you're interested in learning about this, like sometime in the near future, I would recommend going to your local bank and talking to a financial advisor. So again, a portfolio is one or more investments that is held by either an investor, so yourself, or a financial organization. There are a couple more definitions here. So rate of return, that's one of the ones that we've already seen in, I think we saw it even in the simple interest lesson. So it is your interest divided by your principal. So interest divided by principal, and then because it's a percentage, we're going to multiply that by 100. Your average annual rate of return is just your rate of return divided by however many years. So your rate of return might be will be your overall return over 10 years, but if you want to find the average per year, then you just divide by however many years there were. So we're going to take a look at this example here. It says on February 1st, 2008, $8,000 was invested in a GIC at 6.8% per annum, compounded semi-annually. What will it be worth on February 1st, 2013? So again, this is a financial calculator question. We are still using the financial calculator. So I'm going to write down my 7 variables, or just like the 7 things that I'm looking for. So let's start filling this in. Compounded semi-annually means we compounded it twice per year. We're not making any additional payments, so it's just the initial investment. So 0 for payments, 1 for payment per year. Your future value, that's what we're solving for. My present value, I'm investing $8,000. So because I'm putting it into an investment, my present value is going to be negative. We want to put a negative in front of it. Interest rate 6.8%, and 2008 to 2013 is just 5 years. All right, so we're going to go ahead, put that into the financial calculator and see what we get. So we're solving for future value, 5 years, 6.8%. We're investing $8,000. We're not making any additional payments. We're making just one payment, and we're compounding it over twice a year. So we'll hit calculate, and we get a future value of $11,176.23. So that is how much it will be worth after 5 years. All right, so I got my answer written down here. Again, don't forget your $sign. Don't forget to round your answer to 2 decimal places. But like I said, the financial calculator does that for you. So part B says, what is the average annual rate of return over the period of this investment? So again, we know that it's over 5 years. So let's go ahead and calculate the rate of return, which is I divided by P, and then times 100. Now we know what our P is. That's my present value. What I started with is 8,000. In order to find the interest amount, that's future value minus your present value. So in this case, it's the 11,176.23. Subtract the 8,000. And I'll go ahead and grab a calculator here. 11176.23 minus 8,000 is $3,176.23. So that's how much interest we earned over the 5 years. So my rate of return is going to be 3176.23 divided by my starting amount, 8,000, and then we're going to multiply that by 100. Now again, this is just the total rate of return. This is not the average annual rate of return. So we're going to have to do one more step after this. So when we get that answer, it is 39.70%. So if we want to find the average rate of return, we're just going to take the percentage, 39.70, divide it by 5 because it was over 5 years. And when you divide by 5, so 39.70 divided by 5 is 7.94%. So on average, year after year after year, we earn 7.94%. We have one additional question here. So this one is specifically about a portfolio. Says an investment portfolio of $20,000 is held from February 1st, 2002 to February 1st, 2012. So a span of 10 years. We have an interest rate of 3.5% compounded monthly. That is for a GIC, and that makes up 60% of my portfolio. Bonds, they earn an interest rate of 6.5% compounded annually. That makes up 20% of my portfolio. And the last 20% is mutual funds, 15.8% per year, compounded semi-annually. Okay, so we put in $20,000 in 2002. We want to find the value 10 years later in 2012. So because we have 3 separate pieces of our portfolio, we're going to have to use the financial calculator 3 separate times. All right, so I'm going to go over the GIC portion here, and then I'm going to hit pause, and I'm going to, we'll come back and we'll check out the other 2 after. So for the GIC. So the GIC is 60% of my portfolio. So it's going to be 60% of the $20,000 that I invested. So when I multiply that by 0.6, I get $12,000. Okay, so 12,000 of the 20,000 is going into that GIC. So when I enter my 7, again, I don't know, for lack of a better word, the 7 variables. So I have N. Oh, sorry, let's read this carefully. So my GIC earns 3.5%. So that's my interest rate. Compounded monthly, so that's CY is going to be 12. We're not making any additional payments, so my PY is going to be 1. My payments are 0. My N number is going to be 10 because it's 10 years. And my present value is going to be $12,000. And again, because we are putting that money into something, we're giving it to our investor, that's going to be a negative. Okay, so these are my things that are going to go in the financial calculator, and we're going to solve for the future value. Now I'm going to switch over here. We'll enter those numbers in. So 10 years, 3.5%. Oops, extra 5 there, my bad. We're investing $12,000. We're not making any extra payments. PY is 1, and we're compounding monthly, so that's 12. So when we hit calculate, it's going to be worth $17,020.14. All right, so I'm going to write that down, switch back to the notes here. So my GIC is going to be worth $17,020.14. Now, before we move on to the other 2, again, I'm going to hit pause and let you try them first. But so my bonds are 20% of 20,000. So my present value for the bonds is going to be 20% times 20,000. And same thing for the mutual funds as well. So I'm going to hit pause here. I'm going to write all my variables down. You can come back and take a look. All right, so I have my bonds all written out here and my mutual funds as well. So my present value for both the bonds and the mutual funds are 20% of 20,000, which is where the 4,000 came from. But hopefully you can fill out all of the other ones. So we'll switch one more time to the financial calculator, and we'll do both of these calculations here. So first we'll do the bonds, 6.5%. Present value is 4,000, and again, it's going to be negative. and we're going to change our compounding number to 1. So when we hit calculate, the future value is $7,508.55. And we'll do it one more time with the mutual funds. Our interest rate for that is 15.8%, and we're compounding semi-annually, which means we're compounding twice a year. So when we hit calculate for that, ooh, that's a lot of money. It's $18,301.59. Now, I acted surprised that it was a lot of money, but if you think about it, the interest rate on the mutual funds is way higher than the interest rate for the other two investments. So these are the future values of our 3 investments. So when we want to calculate the total value, we're just going to add those 3 numbers together. So 7508.55, 18301.59. When we add those 3 together, and everybody loves watching somebody using a calculator. It's a very enthralling video. So when we add those together, we get a total value of $42,830.28. All right, so part B says, what average annual rate of return does the value in part A represent? So I think we're just going to calculate the average annual rate of return, but in order to do that, we are going to first need to calculate the interest, which is the future values minus the present value. So our value of the portfolio, that is our future value. So good thing we added it all up together. We don't have to do that. And we're going to subtract our present value, how much money we're starting with. Well, we're starting with $20,000. So when you subtract those, you get $22,830.28. So when we go to calculate the rate of return, it's just I divided by P times 100. So 22,830.28 divided by my starting amount was 20,000. Times 100. So divide 20,000 times 100. We get a rate of return, a total rate of return of 114.15%. So when we are calculating the average rate of return, we're just going to divide that by 10. So 114.15 divided by 10 is 11.41%. And again, just a reminder too, whenever you're writing any of your answers, whether it's money, whether it's a percentage, whatever it is, make sure that you round your final answer to 2 decimal places. All right, so that's all that there is for portfolios. Basically, it's just taking everything that we talked about in the previous lessons, and we're just saying, well, what if we have more than one investment? But the calculations are all the same. The other thing we introduced is the average annual rate of return, which is just the rate of return divided by the number of years.